Yeah, well, I don't want to knock it off. I'm going to move it underneath. Everybody hear me? Can you hear me in the back? Back, can you hear me? Okay, got about 5 minutes or a little less, so if you all want to start to get comfortable, find a seat, got about 5 minutes or a little less before we get started. All right, everybody wants to get in their seats and get comfortable. We'll begin in about 60 seconds. Wow, that's amazing. Get a room full of politicians and their supporters, and they get quiet on their own. I'm not sure you all feeling around this evening. Can you hear me? That's the first thing. Can you hear me? Just Ben, Matt, you good for that? And, yeah, thank you all for doing that. I guess somebody taught you well. Maybe your parents or your teachers or somebody. Hey, we appreciate everybody being here this evening. Great opportunity. You know, just what? I guess 12 days ago, celebrated our 250th birthday as a nation. Let's give ourselves a hand. So again, I'm David Lowe. I'll be your MC for the evening. And, you know, on behalf of the Republican Central Committee here in Pulaski County, we want to welcome everybody on a nice, sultry, good old Ozarks evening in the middle of July. So we've had a great first half of summer, and that was capped off by a tremendous celebration just 12 days ago. We're grateful for that and grateful for you all being here. This gives the public an opportunity to hear from our candidates, those who currently hold office. We want to introduce those in a few minutes, and those who are going to be running for office. Obviously, there were several contested races, and we're hopeful that you know, everybody made it out for those. We'll introduce those folks in the coming moments. But again, want to thank everyone that's here, and especially those that helped put this event together. We always want to recognize those folks. So if you're here on the Republican Central Committee, Republican Club here in Pulaski County, you helped organize this. Please stand so we can recognize you. You know, appreciate you all. Again, as everybody here knows, it's been involved in any event. These things don't happen by accident. right? And we want to appreciate everybody who puts effort into this. So thank you all for doing that and for being involved. And if anyone wants to be involved more in local politics, whether that's voting, whether that's getting out and learning more about the candidates, getting behind the scenes, look at things, Pulaski County Republican Club, I believe has if you'd like to get involved in that club, there are opportunities back in the back of the room. You've got a table back there. At that table, you're welcome to get more information. They meet on the second Tuesday of each month at 6:30 in the Pulaski County Courthouse, in the basement of the courthouse. If you're interested in meeting, you are welcome to join and meet each month in the Pulaski County Courthouse at 6:30 on Tuesdays. And again, this is all about the candidates tonight, so we're going to get right into that. But before we do, we obviously want to honor America, and we want to give thanks for the blessings that we have in America. And in order to do that, I'm going to ask you all to please stand with me so we can honor America by reciting the pledge. Ready? Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you very much. And if you will, just remain standing. Just remain standing as we honor our Lord. We've got Pastor Carnahan. He's Keith Carnahan, Senior Pastor at Maranatha Baptist Church. We've asked him to lead our invocation.
Great. Dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful that we can be here this evening. God, we want to give you thanks for our nation, for our freedom. God, we want to thank you for the men and women who have given their lives to defend and protect. Lord, as we've heard news even on our way here, that the military action in Iraq or in Iran is growing. We just ask you to be with our men and women, sending our freedom, be with our president, with all of our leaders, dear God, and our military leaders, give them wisdom. We pray for your divine protection over our soldiers and men. God, we ask that you be in this meeting tonight. I pray that you be with each of the candidates. We're thankful for each one that has dedicated a portion of their life to serve our community. We know, Lord, many of our community leaders are here tonight. So we thank you for their sacrifice, and we pray that you would bless them in their service, Lord, as they seek to make our nation strong and make our local community better. And we just pray that you would bless, give us a good spirit tonight. Lord, I pray that we could all listen carefully and Lord, ask questions intelligently as we have opportunity to speak to these men and women. And we ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. Now we have the honor of hearing our national anthem sung by Jim Blue.
Oh, you have seen by the dawn's early light, what so proudly beheld at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night. O'er the ramparts we watched, o'er so gallantly streamed, and the rockets red, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. Well, yeah, we're ready. Again, thank you, Jenna, for doing that for us. We appreciate that.
Have a question.
Yes,
Trump is speaking at 8 o'clock. How long is his schedule on?
until we're done. I would guess that you might have to leave before it's done if Trump's speaking at 8. So I couldn't tell you for sure the end, but I certainly, after getting all those politicians together, don't want to cut them short. So my guess is it may last past 8 o'clock. All right, so what we'd like to do now is recognize those office holders that are here tonight, but maybe not in a contested race. We certainly respect, as Pastor Carnahan already mentioned, the public servants that we have in office currently. Obviously, we respect and appreciate those willing to serve and are running for office, because that obviously takes a lot of time and effort, and certainly is important as a part of our political and democratic process. So those who are here in attendance, and I'm going to circle back at the end and make sure I didn't miss anybody, but the ones that I'm aware of, first of all, we have Circuit Court Judge Division 3, Zach Armfield. Saw him earlier. Zach, thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate that. We also have from Pulaski County, Associate Circuit Judge Probate Division, Mike Hedrick. Thank you for coming, Judge. Appreciate you coming this evening. I believe I saw him, is our prosecuting attorney, Jeff Thomas, here. And Jeff, please, I know we've got a developing situation, or a previously developing situation. Will you please explain what's going on in your race?
I was right here tonight. You had some phone there. Campaign. He's drawn from the race, but I still appreciate you both. Still need you both. Maybe still need you about. So, you guys got any questions about me? I know we burned about the phone tonight. You got any questions for the song? So, you got any questions about your own? Or have you talked to anybody about it? So they can go to the house. So it's sort of like. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jeff. All right, and I did not, did you say Henry's name?
No.
The only reason I'm going to do that is just in case you see Henry Surkamp's name on the ballot on August 4th. He is not running. He has made it publicly known as such. So just want everybody to make sure they understand that. So he is withdrawn from the race. We also have with us this evening, and I think he'll be as popular tonight as he is during his regular duties, and that is our county assessor, Dan Whittle. He's going to run the clock for us. But he's popular. He's popular every day, and he's going to be popular tonight because he'll get to ring the cowbell if these politicians come over. So we'll get to know Dan even better in a few minutes. County Treasurer Matt Wilkins. Matt's in the back. Thank you for coming back. County Collector to elect would be Courtney Friend. Courtney, I saw you earlier. She's unopposed. Henry Mitchell, after how many years? 20? 20 years, is retiring at the end of this year. Courtney is unopposed. So Courtney, you've got big shoes to fill. We have some expectations there. So thank you for coming. Anyone that I did not mention, I understand we've got Representative Hardwick, Representative Mayhew. And who else? I'm sorry. Andy Helms. Yes, I did see Andy. I think Andy, where you please stand. Western District Commissioner. Thanks for coming, Andy. And who else? I'm sorry. Sheriff. Good. Sheriff, where are you? Please stand. Stacy. Thanks for coming. I know you want to be up here. You're sure? All right. You were doing it last time, I remember. So thanks for coming. Appreciate you, Sheriff. Anyone else that I missed? Obviously, we've got the representatives in the room, and they are going to be up here. You're going to get to hear from them soon. Anyone else that I may have missed? Hannah, is she in office now? No, I'm talking about current office holders. We're just current office holders, yeah. Okay, any other current office holders? I just wanted them to get introduced so everybody knew they were here. Okay, let me go over the ground rules with you, how we're going to operate our our business tonight. You know, again, this is about the candidates, but it's just as important, if not more important, about those who are in our audience to learn more about the candidates in case they have questions or in case you want to ask a question. It's your opportunity to do so tonight. The idea is, as I call the contested races up here, the county races first, then the state races, the way this will work is, if you want to ask a question, we've got Mr. Dickey, we've got David Dickey, we've got Deborah in the back. We've got some folks that can take your questions in the back. They're going to go through, filter through those and get those to me in between the races that will be called up. We'll start with the county races. We'll ask those candidates for each office that is contested to introduce themselves. And again, I'm teasing and giving Dan a hard time. But Dan's got a very efficient clock. He also has a cowbell that he likes to use in case you go over that 1 minute allotted time to introduce yourself and say whatever you want about why you're running for office. You get a minute to do that, and then there's going to be questions for each office holder, either office holder or those running for office. But the bottom line is you're going to get questions, and those questions will be asked of all the candidates. You'll be given a minute to answer those questions. Hopefully you understand with about 17 or more candidates running for office, you can't give more than a minute. I hope you respect that. But that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to run this. If you want to ask questions, the folks at the back, that front table, when you walk in the door, they'll be able to help you and assist with that process. And in between, as we bring the candidates up for each office, then they'll bring me those questions. Any questions about that? Make sure that's clear before we go to the next part of the process. All right, seeing none, we will start with our county commissioner race. We have two candidates for county commissioners, presiding commissioner of the county. Again, I think Andy's been up here before, but we won't ask him to come up tonight. So we'll ask those two candidates to make their way to the stage. We've got Gene Newkirk, who's the incumbent, and we've got Rob Goodrich, who is running for that office. Come on forward, and just so you're ready, because as soon as we're done with these two candidates, the county clerk race, those candidates will come forward next, so you're prepared to do that. Yeah. So, guys, I'm going to let you start, and wherever you want to do that out here, that mic is hot. I'm going to let Gene Newkirk go first, and then Rob, you want to come on up. You guys can stand however you want to do it. I'm going to tell you what I just learned and listen to myself back there on the mic. You give me talk right into it, because it's a lot better than doing it like this. So right into it like that. Gene Newkirk.
First, I'd like to thank the Republican Committee for putting this on. Like I said, it's my 16th year. It's been a long run. It's been fun. There's a lot of things left to do. My wife, Pulaski Newkirk, 3 kids, 4 grandkids. We love it. Over the years, we went from sheriff's department cars that had 300,000 miles on it, and now we're less than 50,000. Built a jail. We've redid the whole courthouse, the heating and cooling. And right now, we're in the process of putting in the actual morgue in the courthouse. And if you want to ask questions on that, you're more than welcome. I'll explain to you why we're doing it. But other than that, I appreciate you voting on it.
All right. And we've got Rob Goodrich.
Just give me a minute. Name's Rob Goodrich. I've served 27 years on Crocker School Board. I worked in the family business for 15, 20 years. I'm a college graduate from Missouri State University. Got a bachelor's from there. I've got my wife, Andrea. We've got 2 children, Kayla and Nick, and I got 4 grandchildren that are spoiled rotten. And the things I see, what Gene and them has done, they've done great. I see sometimes fresh eyes on a subject. It's not a bad thing. I would like to use the experience I have learned throughout the years to see, I think I can help the county in more ways and expand, and I think we need to think outside the box as far as taxes and things like that.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ron. You guys want to have a seat, you can create some space between you, however you want it, you just sit right there. But again, if you want to ask questions of any of these candidates, just work with the table in the back, they'll make sure those come up to me. So we'll move right into our questions for these candidates. We have had some submitted already and brought up, so I'm going to go to those now. And those, again, these questions are going to be asked of both candidates. And then as I ask those questions of both candidates, they will give an answer. You have 1 minute to answer the question. And again, no certain order here in who gets what question first, but I'll go ahead on the first question. I'll ask you this question, and then Rob Goodrich will get the first question. What I'm going to do, gentlemen, to make this easier, is give you this mic, and that should be on. I'm going to test that, make sure that's good. Okay, first question for you, Mr. Goodrich, would be, as the Chief Executive Officer of the Finances and Infrastructure of Pulaski County, what procedures would you implement to ensure that citizens of Pulaski County can be assured that their tax dollars are spent wisely?
I think it goes through, you have to work as a group. You bring everybody, my opinion is you bring everybody in, you sit down, you talk, you make sure everybody knows what their budget is and what we can do as far as the finances, and make sure everybody is on board, that you can't spend whatever, just spend to be spending, and try to just keep everybody communication.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and give that to Gene. Gene, you need to repeat that question. Say again. Read it again. All right. Gene, as Chief Executive Officer of the Finance and Infrastructure of Pulaski County, what procedures would you implement to ensure the citizens of Pulaski County can be assured that their tax dollars are spent wisely?
What I've been doing is, it's like, I'm gonna go with the new heating and cooling on the roof. Over the years, I've been putting back money, so they pay cash for it instead of financing, which saves the county a lot of money. And then, when COVID hit and the ARPA funds come, I was able to use it on the roof, so now I'm taking the money that I was using on the roof, and I'm doing the corner shop or the morgue. So what you do is you look out in the future, you try to put the money aside, build the money, so you're not paying interest. I mean, this taxpayer's dollars, and you have to spend it right. And I just look in each department, and I try to, talk to them, because you can't tell another elected official what to do, but you can help them, and that's what I try to do.
Okay, thank you very much, Gene. You hold on there, Gene. I'm going to switch it up. Let you go first on this one. All right, Gene, what's your philosophy on long-term debt for infrastructure projects, and how will that affect your agenda as design commissioner of your reelection? Infrastructure projects.
Ooh, I'm trying to think of what infrastructure the county, because most of it is not with the county commission, besides road and bridge. And those two gentlemen, what they do is, they look out a year, 2 years out in advance, they start calculating what they got, they pick the project they want to do, and basically, you only have so much money to spend, so they're trying to get as much done with what they have, and they've been doing a really good job. I mean, my phone calls that I've been getting from people over these projects over the 16 years has come down to maybe 1 a month, where I was getting 10 to 15 a week. So they're doing a really good job.
Okay. All right, Mr. Goodrich, you want that repeated?
Yes, please.
All right, what is your philosophy on long-term debt for infrastructure projects, and how will those affect, or how will that philosophy affect your agenda as presiding commissioner?
I don't like debt. I do not like borrowing money, nothing against bankers here, but I do not like borrowing money. I feel like what we did at Crocker School, we've seen a project down the road and we started saving back for it. And just and worked our way to try to save and use our money wisely. And, but sometimes you have to get in debt, and then that is going to the taxpayers, whether or not, you know, if they're willing to go that distance.
Okay. Rob Goodrich, I'm going to start with you on this next question. And the question is, sir, if county revenue declines, what would you cut first and what programs would you protect regardless of the loss of that revenue?
That's a tough one. Well, you can't cut the sheriff's department because he's, you know, everybody's, their safety is number one. Everybody wants him to be able to show up, and when you have a crisis, and I guess we'd have to more or less go to a team to go to each county official and just ask them what they have in their office that they're able to cut back. And that might even be going to the sheriff and say, what is the fat that can be trimmed in your department? And that's basically across the board. I mean, everybody's got a little bit of fat they can trim. And I call it fluff in the budget, but you can always, there's places.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Goodrich. We'll hand that off. All right. You need that?
All right. When I first took office, it took us about 25 days to do a budget. And you had to go through each line item of budget. And I had to go to each elected official and see where they can squeeze back a little bit of money just to balance the budget. Well, today, it's a lot easier. We have excess, but if it does happen, you have to go to each individual elected official and say, what can you give up? The problem becomes your biggest line item is the sheriff's department. 3 elected officials really has no budget. So you have to go to the sheriff. You just don't want to cut an item out of his budget because you don't know what he needs or what he has to have. You need to go to him and find out what can he give up. And you have to go to each one and find out what can they give up just a minute.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Newkirk. Stay with you. The next question. What is the biggest problem that's currently facing us here in Pulaski County? What would your top priority be to correct or to resolve that problem if we were elected as presiding official?
What I'm looking at is what's coming down from the state, what's coming in. It's like these data centers. This thing, people, is a monster. And when it comes down, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your water table. It's going to affect your electric. And as commissioners, we are working with other entities within the county to sign a piece of paper to say that we don't want it. Because if you're out in the county and they draw as much water as they're telling me they're drawing, they could make your well go dry. It's not fair because you're not going to make any money. State gets all the money. It's just an unfunded mandate set down by the state that costs Pulaski County. And you'll see 1 or 2 every year, and it happens.
Okay, Mr. Goodrich, you need to repeat that question. All right. Question is, what is the biggest problem currently facing Pulaski County? And what will be your top priority to resolve that problem like this presiding official?
I'm going to agree with Gene on this. I think the data centers are the worst thing, and I think, you know, Pulaski County has, you know, they could have their eye on us. We have a lot of water. Those places use 2 to 3 million gallons of water a day. And we are pretty much wide open. I mean, the only other way you can do it is say, well, they have, you know, anybody that uses over 1 million gallons a day, you know, has to have a permit. Well, that means everybody that has a private well puts a meter on. Nobody wants to put a meter on their house or their private well. I mean, I pay for that. Why does the county need to know what to do with that? And the zoning is the only other way also, but Nobody wants zoning. I don't want nobody telling me what I can do on my acreage, and nobody wants that. So I think we're gonna have to go to the state and ask them to do something to help protect us smaller counties.
Okay, thank you very much. Gentlemen, those are all the questions we have. Thank you again, G.G. Newkirk and Rob Goodrich. Okay, now we're going to move to the county clerk race. There'll be a couple of minutes transition if anyone needs to take a restroom break. And the county clerk candidates come forward. That's Glenn Askeland, Whitney Medlen, and Dustin Robertson. Wherever you're comfortable, and again, when we get out of here. Where's Glenn? Okay. Is Glenn in the back? Anybody see Glenn? Glenn, come on down. You're the next contestant on. Let's get him elected. I'll tell you guys, so yeah. I'll make sure that you know, you guys can come talk. I'm not gonna be. There's plenty of reasons to spread out, whatever you want to do. We'll just pass it. Now everybody gets this. Yeah. Hey, here's what I told you guys. When you introduce yourself and when you're answering questions, I'm going to let you guys ask them. Make it a lot simpler. So here's the way we're going to do it. We're going to start with you, Glenn, and I'm just going to ask names. Completely unbiased. We're going to start with Glenn. Your second, Robertson.
You want to do this week?
No, before you come. So what we'll do here is, when I get you to start, you get 60 seconds. Stay, you can stay it. I'll be with you. We get 60 seconds to reach yourself right around the office. Yeah, you see that. Okay, guys. Any questions about it? Good? Good as well? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. We have county clerk's race. Dave Ernst is retiring at the end of this year. We've got 3 candidates that are seeking that office. And again, Glenn Askeland. We've also got Whitney Medlen, and we've got Dustin Robertson. We're going to start with the introductions, and we'll start with Glenn Askeland. Stand up if you want, or wherever you want.
Hello, folks. My name is Glenn Askeland, and I'm proud to announce my candidacy for Pulaski County Clerk as a Republican. It'd be an honor to serve this community and ensure that our county government operates with integrity and transparency and efficiency. That's all.
My name is Whitney Medlen, and I am a candidate for the county clerk. I have worked with Pulaski County for 25 years, and I'm responsible for all the human resource staff. I do all the payroll, I pay all the bills. I am familiar with the account payable process. I help with the election process. I'm responsible for all of our state and federal reporting for taxes and unemployment and workers' comp and such. And that's what I've done for the last 25 years. Thank you.
Hello, Pulaski County. My name is Dustin Robertson, and I'm running to be your next county clerk. The county clerk's office is an essential part of our local government. It impacts your everyday life, from issuing ATV permits to your right to vote. My mission is simple: efficiency, transparency, and election integrity. If elected, I will work tirelessly to ensure every ballot is secure with strict, transparent processes, modernize our office to improve services, and support voter education so every eligible citizen has the opportunity to participate. I'm running to serve you, the people of Pulaski County. I bring the administrative experience, leadership, and dedication needed to run an office you can trust completely. On election day, vote for secure elections and efficient service. Vote Dustin Robertson for your Pulaski County clerk. Thank you.
But again, if you want to ask any questions, please submit them through the table near the entrance. We're going to go to the first question. You're done. I think we'll make it easy. Yeah. All right. First question will be from Ms. Medlen. Ms. Medlen, what will be your method to protect the voter rolls, and how would you maintain the confidentiality and security of the information you work with?
So voter records, only certain information on those is public record. And I mean, if you request it, you get the address and where they live. Some of that, like I said, is not public record. We work very hard.
Yeah, you want to start that again. You want to give her, just hold that, yeah. Start that again, but talk right down on top of it. This is what I think works better. Go ahead.
Sorry. So voter records, only certain information on a voter record is public. So if you would want to request that, you only get what is public. There is things on there that you cannot have. I mean, people request those all the time, and that information is just not on there. As far as the confidentiality, that's how it works. Those reports are run through our MCDR, which is our centralized voter registration, and all those reports are set up by the state.
Give that to Betsy. All right, okay. Mr. Robertson, do you need me to repeat the question?
Sure.
Okay, the question again is, what would be your method to protect voter rolls, and how would you maintain the confidentiality and security of the information you work with?
As Whitney said, I agree. The confidentiality is written into the statutes, how we disperse the information from the clerk's office. When it is requested, you are limited to an address. That's pretty much it. About you can get a name, but you would just continue to maintain the security of the systems that are in place, and just keep that information confidential. Only dispersing the information that is required by law to give out when requested.
Thank you, Mr. Askeland.
I have to agree with both of you candidates as well. It confidentially and confidential records are very important. They have to be secure. And if you want those particular names or addresses, then whatever process you must go through to get that fairly and transparently, and that's what needs to happen.
Okay. Why don't you keep that?
Oh.
And no, I'm going to start. I'm going to go back to Dustin. Dustin, okay. All right. Mr. Robertson, next question. How would you improve transparency, accessibility, and public trust in the services that your office provides if you are elected county clerk?
If elected, I would improving the transparency of the office will improve the citizens' trust in the process. Just being open and honest within the statutes as they are allowing, communication between the multiple offices, being as clear and as open as we can, as a county collectively.
You get that, Mr. Askeland? All right. Mr. Askeland, you may need me to repeat that question.
No, sir. No, sir. I believe in open communications and will always welcome input from residents, local businesses, and community leaders. Together, we can continue to build a stronger and more responsive Pulaski County.
You need me to repeat it? Okay. Ms. Medlen, the question is, How would you improve transparency, accessibility, and public trust in the services that your office provides?
So I agree with the other two, being open and honest. There are, like I said, there's certain things that you just don't get to know. And if there is things that are public record, anyone is more than welcome to come and ask. But I don't have a problem with that. If it's not, I'll be the one to tell you. I'm kind of like Fort Knox. You're not going to get through if it's not available to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, we'll stay with you. No, we'll go to Mr. Askeland first. All right, Mr. Askeland, what experience do you have in managing tight deadlines with zero flexibility, such as election certification timelines? And what do you believe is more important, speed, transparency, or absolute accuracy?
Transparent. I continue serving as our community as a city alderman for Ward 1. 4 years working closely with residents to address local needs and strengthen our neighborhoods. So in a nutshell, transparency is important and accuracy is very important. And working under pressure is right up my alley.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to Ms. Medlen on this. Ms. Medlen, do you need the question repeated?
Yeah.
Okay, the question is, what experience do you have in managing tight deadlines with zero flexibility, such as election certification timelines? And what do you believe is more important, speed, transparency, or absolute accuracy?
So accuracy is very important. We have a lot of deadlines for everything. We set in reference to elections, we set up meetings for everyone so that we teach them the rules and regulations of those elections and what needs to be done. And everything has a deadline. So, I mean, if at all possible, you got to meet that deadline.
Right. Mr. Robertson?
I have over 15 years of management and supervisory experience. In those roles, there's always deadlines. I believe that transparency and accuracy are equally important. Obviously, speed comes into play when you're down to the last minute, but as long as you're working the way you should be, everything should go right.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, we'll start with you, so just keep that in mind. And Ms. Robertson, question is, if elected as the next county clerk, what duties and responsibilities do you believe are most misunderstood in that office, and how would you prioritize them?
The most misunderstood duties. I would have to think about that. Let's see. The most misunderstood things that I came across, I never knew that the county clerk issued TV permits. There are a lot of things, certain tax obligations where you are required to work with the collector. And there are a lot of statutes that go hand in hand with those requirements of the clerk. What I think is that you would need to prioritize those by the highest need or the most difficult.
Okay, and if you'll pass that mic. Mr. Addison.
Would you repeat the question, sir?
I will. If elected as the next county clerk in Pulaski County, what duties and responsibilities do you believe are most misunderstood in that office, and how would you prioritize them?
Pulaski County deserves a clerk's office that is accessible, accountable, and committed to serving every resident with professionalism and respect. If elected, I would work diligently to modernize services, improve record-keeping systems, secure that vital public information is accurate, secure, and readily available. I'm dedicated to making interactions with the clerk's office as seamless and efficient as possible for all citizens. So where I'd like to start with that or finish with is, if I did win the election, the first thing I'd like to do is obviously sit down with every department head and learn their day-to-day operation. So I would be fully very knowledgeable about that. And then I would like to have meetings in the clerk's office to see where our downfalls are and where we're at doing positive things to rectify them.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Medlen? Sure, I'll repeat the question. Elected is next. County clerk, what duties or responsibilities do you believe are most understood in that office, and how would you prioritize them?
So, as I said, I do the payroll, and that is a problem. Sometimes for me, we have our law enforcement personnel that have the power to arrest. They're on what's called a 171. I don't think very many of them at all understand that, which means if you work 171 hours in 28 days, then your overtime kicks in. But they don't like it, and it's not for me to say, it's for me to follow the law. That and people not knowing how to calculate comp time, not knowing how to add the hours they have on their timesheet. If you can tell, I do, like I said, I do the payroll and I deal with that every other week. So it's a big problem that they don't like.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's give them a big round of applause. Okay. You have the candidates for the state representative race in the 124th legislative district. If you could make your way through the stage, 124th legislative district. About 3 minutes or so before we begin, if anybody needs to take a break. And is Amy Smokestack, Nick Smokestack still out there? And she's still providing food, so there you go. Can everybody give her a big round of applause? Thank you for coming tonight. She's been great, and we appreciate her, and appreciate you giving her some business. Yeah. All the candidates for the 124th legislative district, please come forward.
Right, that's the way I love What are we doing? Are we doing a picture? We should do a picture. God, look how great this is. Where's your phone? Somebody take a picture. Look how great we look. This is democracy. Oh, turn it around.
1, 2, 3, look at me. Good job. See on my dartboard.
Okay. I'll tell you what, go ahead and close the camera because it's not going to be able to take. It's okay. It's okay. All you got to do is close it.
Forward is what he said. What we're doing, Doug Powder here, broadcasting from Pulaski Talks.
Didn't you do this last? Well, last time I had a hat on my head. You remember? I'll shake your hand in here.
So here's the You guys, listen, you can stand behind the range. There's no set way that you can reach. The only thing I'm trying to do.
I'm assuming what Mr. Lowe is talking about is rules and procedures for this event. I hooked up to the internet here, so hopefully it's a little bit better. Doug Fowler here from Pulaski Talks. Got quite a few online. Hope you can hear it all right. St. Robert has a sound system that was popular back when the Staabs brothers were in the top 10. If you can name a song, bonus points. It's kind of embarrassing. I can't believe they don't have a decent sound system. So Mr. Lowe David Lowe from the law office in Waynesville, Missouri. America, break. Here we're going to break and free, so back to the action.
All right, so now we have the pleasure of hearing from our candidates for the 124th Legislative District. After I introduce you, then you can sit and I'll bring you up one after another. Because this is going to be, just so you know, I'm just going in alphabetical. Yes. All right, so introduce those candidates and then let them introduce themselves to you. We have on the Republican ticket, we have Tony Laszacs, right?
Yes, sir.
Tony Laszacs, Kevin Onstott, Chris Webery. Did I get that right, Chris?
You got it.
Okay. And on the Democratic ticket, we've got Carol Hallmark. All right. So again, the format is we're going to let them have a minute to introduce themselves. We're going to go in that exact order, and then we'll get into the question and answer. We'll start with Tony. If you'd like to introduce yourself, sir.
Good evening. Thanks for coming. My name is Tony Laszacs. I live in Lakeway. I am a retired soldier. My background is in anti-terrorism. I have many years teaching high school and middle school. I also was a police detective. And through all of that, I've always had nonprofits that I work in. I currently am the executive director of Show Me Nonprofit, and I own a business called Colonial Harvest. We're kind of small business. Like we operate with the farmers. 50% of our business is farm, and 50% of our business like golf courses, football fields, things of that nature. And I'm very conservative. I get my principles from the Bible, and I always put God first and take the time to do that. Whenever I make decisions politically, though, I get my principles from the Constitution. I think that's very important. I think today we might have a conversation on the importance of shaping that Constitution. And if you follow me on my site, we're going to talk a little bit about further because you can't answer any of those questions. Thank you. God bless you.
Kevin Onstott.
My name is Kevin Onstott. I'm a lifelong resident of southern Medlen County. My wife and I raised 5 sons. They're all grown. We now have 5 grandchildren. I spent 32 years with the state of Missouri, 16 of those with MoDOT, and I went over to Veterans Commission for 12, where I was one of their directors. And then I spent the last 4.5 years at Office of Administration doing budget work with all 17 departments within the state. So been around the state quite a bit. I retired to run for office, and that kind of brings me to where I am today. So.
All right, thank you very much. Now we have Chris Webery.
I'm Chris Webery. I'm a lifelong citizen of Eldon, and I'm here tonight with my wife Kylie and our 2 kids. I have been a part of the small business community for the last 10 years. I started out driving a truck, running the family business after that, which was trucking, and always been involved with animal agriculture, and I don't ever see a future without that. And I'm conservative in every sense of the word. I'm pro public education. And the last few years, along with small business, I have been an alderman in the city of Eldon and a executive board member for the Eldon Chamber of Commerce. So that's basically it. And I'm sure I'm forgetting something. So please ask questions.
Thank you very much. We have Carol Hallmark.
Hello, neighbors. It is so wonderful to see you all here. We are doing democracy. That's a big deal. I'm Tara Hallmark. I reside outside of Dixon. I've been here for about 18 years. I'm the lifelong wife of a military person. I served in the United States Navy And before I left the federal government, after working a county, a state, the provost marshal's office, I also was your Joplin mitigation disaster on the boots. And so the structure and so much of what we have here at home is not just something bypassing. I waited a long time after joining the Navy to have a home. I love y'all so much, and thank you for having me.
All right. So now we're going to begin our question and answer format. Again, you folks can sit if you would like, stand when you take the question if you want to do that. You're welcome to stand once you take the question. Let's see which one we'll do. We'll defer to the ladies. Oh, ladies, pardon me. Ms. Hallmark, I'm going to give this to you. You'll take the first question this evening.
Sir, I am no lady.
All right.
I'm the same.
Ms. Hallmark, the question is, what current government, state government programs do you believe are inefficient or wasteful, and how do you believe that they should be reformed?
That's a biggie, because so much of what we know about the state of Missouri has been hidden since 2017. And the way that the Sunshine Law works is that the important issues regarding property, employment, and budgetary items that actually affect the local communities are hidden behind the curtain. This is not new. It's got 10 years built upon it at least, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the first thing I would be looking at as far as an important policy is letting out some sunshine and letting a little integrity in, letting in the numbers and validating. 20 years of a supermajority means that it's time to balance the budget on an outside. And I have a history of being a hawk. Thank you.
Thank you. If you will, Mr. Laszacs, go ahead. Do you want me to repeat that question?
No, sir, thank you very much. So if I had to pick one right away, I think the most crucial thing we need to really take a look at, and people don't understand it as thoroughly as I've been researching, and it's my background too, is the Department of Education. Starting from the National Department of Education, it comes down into our Department of Education. We can't be running things by directorate. We need people to be voting on things. Our parents need to be included. Our children need to be given skills over memory work. We're basically teaching tests, and we're so far into the different teaching levels that our teachers only know how to teach the test. So I still substitute teach. I go in and I do my little investigations and I see what's going on, and I help the teachers, I help them learn. And I think we need to take a look at Department of Education, how we train our teachers, and what we're putting out to our children. We need to include the community, and we need to include our parents and our grandparents.
Thank you very much. Mr. Weaver. Yes, and the question was, what current state government programs do you believe are inefficient or wasteful, and how do you believe they should be reformed?
I for sure agree with Tony. The Department of Education should be included in that. A crucial element that is excluded from many school districts now is the involvement of parents. It starts at home. It just does. It doesn't matter what the curriculum is. If parents aren't involved in a positive manner, then schools are going to suffer. That's just how it is. My wife has seen it firsthand. She taught for 10 years. But to add to that, Department of Transportation, and I should be hearing an amen from Don Mayhew on that. But I think there's a lot of rocks to overturn there and to look at what we actually need to spend on our roads, whether that's increased, decreased, and the labor that we provide there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onstott.
Yeah, so if you've had a chance to talk to me out in the field on the campaign trail, you know that education is big for me as well. These two covered that very well. I'm going to talk about one that I had a conversation just last week with some folks. One of the things I try to do is get out and have those conversations with people that really know. DHSS, currently, they are spending money to these organizations that then turn around and give money to our senior centers. And there are 3 of them in our district right now that are heavily underfunded. And I've had some conversations with all 3 of those. And that'll be one of the first things I do is look at how that money is being funneled in, because quite honestly, we're paying those companies about $10 million a year. And they are they're supporting about 20 to 30 senior centers, and those senior centers are getting 100,000 or less of that money. So that's where we're talking.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, so Mr. Onstott's going to answer the second question first. The second question is, what process will you use to balance the needs of your district versus your party's caucus? And are you willing to vote contrary to your party's caucus if needed to support the citizens of your district?
Yeah, so you could easily transform this into talks on Amendment 4 and 5. I know that the Republican Party is pushing those very heavily. Amendment 4, for example, I think the concept of that amendment is very good. I think having each congressional district, all each district, vote and have to pass that is a good idea and concept. I think we probably take that a little too far. I think if you went to either a supermajority where you have 6 districts or 5, I think that's more reasonable. I just don't want to get it to a point where we as citizens never have an opportunity to make a difference or make a change to our Constitution.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Webery.
We repeat it.
Question was, what process will you use to balance the needs of your district versus your party's caucus? And are you willing to vote contrary to your party's caucus if needed to support your district?
I am. It boils down to the needs of the citizens, and that's what we're here for, to represent you guys. We're not here to represent the Republican Party per se. Yes, we're associated with it, but that is not the end all be all. And I mean, I consider myself first and foremost an ambassador for the Lord Almighty, and then second for the citizens of District 124. So yes, would I go against the Republican Party to vote for what's right? Absolutely. That's an easy decision, at least at face value. I mean, I'm sure there are situations where it would be tough or you would be called on the carpet, but ultimately, yes, we would be a representative of you guys. So your voice comes first.
Thank you very much. Mr. Langston.
Yes, sir, thank you. So I would never, ever vote straight party, and I would suggest to you never do that either, because from subject to subject to subject, it changes how you and your family sit at the dinner table, how you pay your checks, how you pay your bills, and how you move into your retirement. So you have to look at it from the beginning to the end of people's lives. And all of those different areas are different cycles of life. So when you look at voting straight party, you're making a major mistake. And a lot of people go up to the Capitol and that's what they do. My plan is to get into the committees, fight my way into the committees. That's why I've already spent many, many months already meeting with all these other legislators that don't have anybody to run against them. They're going to be there next year, and understanding their approach. So you have to strategize all of these things to defend Central Missouri. We're very, very lucky that we have Bill and Don. Those men did the same thing that I'm explaining. That's pretty much where I learned it from, both of them. And having one of the two of those in the Senate is going to make a major difference. So now you got to pair up with that same effort in the Senate. And we don't allow the party to design it. They're not taking care of Central Missouri. We design it. That's how we're going to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Hallmark.
May you please repeat the question?
The question is, what process will you use to balance the needs of your district versus your party's caucus? And are you willing to vote contrary to your party's caucus if needed to support your district?
Thank you for that. Yes, absolutely. I know exactly the process that I plan to look at in order to show a good evaluation. After working for a county outside of a military installation and then working for the installation and laying the groundwork that everybody is using that came afterwards, I got to tell you, I know exactly where to go. I'm going to go right to the treasurer's office. I can go right to the GAO. I know exactly how money filters into the government state and how it's doled out because I was a federal specialist for grants. And there's a level of integrity and awareness and also a threshold. So I can see what was done in the past. The process in order to find out what is the benefit cost ratio and what will help our people for real, that's what's going to be the decision. I am not a go along, get along. I'm from Texas and I plan to die here in Missouri.
Thank you, Mr. Hallmark. Okay, let's start with Mr. Webery on the next one. All right. Mr. Webery, if elected, what standard or guidelines will you use to decide how you will vote on a bill?
Once again, I consider myself a representative of God first, and then for the people of District 124. So whatever, if the bill supports agriculture, education, whatever conservative values or are reflective of the people, that's how I would vote. So basically, to answer your question, how would I gauge that? I would stay involved with the community. I would listen to any conversation brought to me. I would take correspondence, email, phone calls, have a open door policy to hear what people actually want and what they feel.
Thank you very much. We'll go to Mr. Laszacs.
Everything for me starts with the Constitution. It's the Constitution. So it would take me a lot longer in a minute to show why some things come out of there not constitutional. Is it something the government's supposed to be doing? Does it take any of your liberties away? If it does any of those things, right away, I'm not going to be on board for it. Is it something that Central Missouri, as a team, the eight counties around us, is that something that we need? Is that something that's going to help us grow and help our family stay here? So when you take a look at how those bills get passed, they're going to have a lot of attachments. Those attachments are going to have nothing to do with the intent of the good bill. I want to fight for clean bills. It's very, very difficult. We've had several clean bills go through this year. I will always fight for clean bills. If they're not clean, I'm going to ask them to approach it a different way.
Ms. Hallmark.
May I have the question one more time, please?
Yes. So the question is, if elected, what standard or guidelines will you use to decide on how to vote on a bill?
So the best part about being a federal specialist with grants is that you realize where everything eventually gets docked and how file management and archiving works. And how it works in our state, I have a little bit of a history since planning and other projects dealing with fire, eminent domain, infrastructure. You have to go directly to where the funnel of the money starts, and then you just trace it through. But you have to also have an awareness of what is supposed to be in compliance in order for that money to work together with a federal and state. And has there been appropriate audits? You look at the past in order to see what's in the pocket now, and then you start planning forward once you find out what's really in the bank. And that's exactly what I plan to do, since I happen to know exactly where they are docked.
Thank you. Mr. Onstott.
Yeah, so I guess first, it comes down to a moral compass. And I'm a firm believer that our country was founded on Christian belief, and that's where it all starts for me. Some people will argue that there is a separation of church and state, and that is very true. But I believe at the end of the day that you have to have God in your country, or you don't have a country anymore. As far as an example, I had a conversation a couple of months ago, probably now. A couple asked me, they said, well, if you had a bill that you just absolutely love, but then suddenly there was a lot of pork added to that bill, how would you vote? And really it comes down to which one of those items morally can you stand on? You know, do you have to cut the entire bill, or do you vote for that bill? And it's really going to come down to what the individual items are. So.
Okay, thank you very much. Give the microphone, if you will, to Tony Laszacs, please. Mr. Laszacs, next question is for you to begin. The next question is, what is your position on the proposed addition of AI data centers in Missouri, and how do you believe it will affect land, water, and electricity usage?
Okay, so in the short, a 1 minute answer, you got to go straight to the fact that we don't know enough about any of the topics he just listed out. So the research needs to be put in. I think we need a moratorium on it. And right now, my answer would be no. I believe that's what the greater majority of the people are saying in our communities. However, I don't want to be wishy-washy with you, but we cannot let the government pick businesses over businesses. If they're hurting the environment, if they're failing us with the water expenditures, if they can't be self-sufficient, they are hurting us. So then we can go ahead and say, if it pans out that they, or whether that's the road, we take a look at it again. Right now, they can't answer those questions. They can't even answer the questions if our metabolic rates change for people that work in the area because of the electromagnetic pulses. There's a couple of cancer issues with the way they're transforming the information. Haven't had any of the solutions to that. So it's not just the water or the electricity or the cost of the housing. They're rolling this out in a magic moment, and they're telling you, I almost said something not very friendly. They're telling you to suffer it, suffer the consequences. I don't like that.
All right, if you will, thank you very much, Mr. Laszacs, if you will. Ms. Hallmark, next.
Can I ask the question one more time?
Yes, the question is, Ms. Hallmark, what is your position on the proposed addition of AI data centers in Missouri, and how do you believe it will affect land, water, and electricity usage?
So they didn't just show up. They were invited and allowed to come in. And when I say they, I meant the people who are funding and bringing the AI system in with the data centers. Naturally, I have a farm. I have an orchard. My neighbors have cattle. Right now, there's a lot of problems. How would I address it? Would definitely be the compliances that were changed in order for the dirty water that we're trying so hard to keep on our property that we have paid taxes for all these years to keep it clean in the wells that don't go dry. Ameren is a big push of this type of stuff, and they came along this year and said 15% was gonna go on top of nothing. And now we're asking for more money in summer at the hottest time. I gotta tell you, they didn't just show up. They were allowed to come in, and then the place was set for them to have a nice, clean plate off of our food.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hallmark. Next person to answer that would be Mr. Onstott.
Okay, first and foremost, land rights are big for me. Farmers deserve to keep their property, whether you want to talk about transmission, power lines, whatever that is. That's first and foremost. Outside of that, with the Veterans Commission, I worked very closely with our maintenance crew. These are basically using large chillers, large cooling towers, and that water has to be recycled. It has to have a fungicide put in it to keep the algae from growing on those towers. So the water rights are a big thing for us too. I'll throw one more thing out there. When we're looking at a $10 billion plant coming into our community, the other thing I'm looking at is the personal property tax and the taxes on those computers in the building. And I think we have to take a hard look at when you're cutting personal property tax, that's good for us, but you've got to be careful because that's affecting those data centers.
Okay, Mr. Webery.
Data centers as they stand, I can't be in favor of for a lot of the same reasons that you just heard. I mean, whether it be water, land, taxation, whatever the case may be, we don't know everything about these things. And they might not be an instantaneous thing here, but it does seem like it to me. Like it seems like these were brought in and talked about all at once. And yeah, we don't know enough about this. I mean, I am lucky to use ChatGPT on a good day, and I use it as a search engine at best. So, I mean, again, there are too many unknowns currently. Do I think that it would affect our water? Would it affect animal agriculture? Yes. And as a city alderman for Eldon, like I already know that we have water issues that date back 40 years, but it's my problem to help solve now. And I can only imagine that this would exacerbate the problem.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to our next question. Trying to get my numbers right here. I think we'll leave it with you, Mr. Webery, to answer this question first. And the question is, what do you believe is the biggest issue facing our state right now? And if elected, what would your top priority be during your first year in office?
My top priority would probably be making sure education is fully funded and bringing those parents of these children to the table so that we could have a dignified conversation and make a coherent investment into the youth of our state. And I think that's something that's really lacking now, and I think it's shown more and more over time. And then, second, I would also sponsor what a friend of mine has suggested as kind of a VA program for retired law enforcement. And then another priority for me is getting rid of abortion. I think crafty language allowed it to pass this last time, and I would do my best to lead the charge for a personhood amendment.
Okay, thank you very much for coming up this way. Thank you very much, Mr. Onstott.
Okay, so, I think one of the biggest issues for us right now is the state budget. And everybody's talking about, having to trim some fat, and I think we can do that. That's a big issue. As far as my agenda, if you will, if you talk to me on the campaign trail, you know that I'm big into education and infrastructure. When I talk about infrastructure, I'm not talking about necessarily I-44 or I-70, I'm talking about the infrastructure within our district. There's a lot of things that I can do with MoDOT, hopefully alongside them that help us out here, on a smaller scale, things that may. As far as education goes, when I talk about education, I talk more about the trades in our education. I think we've gotten away from that. And I will just, I'm out of time. I'll just say that, I think a person can come out of high school right now and make a very good living in the trade, and we need to be teaching those kids to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll go to Mrs. Hallmark. Thank you.
Can we have the question again, please? Sir?
Yes. The question is, what do you believe is the biggest issue facing our state right now? And if elected, what would your top priority be during your first year in office?
Healthcare. Healthcare is horrible right now. If you break an arm on the farm, you're driving 2 hours. Right now, families need appointments and not chat. And right now, there is somebody who is suffering and can't get there. So healthcare is number one with epidemiology for our area specifically, and follow up on previous studies that were done, because they were done with the water and the earth a long time ago. So I think that would be number one, especially since down in the Boothville, the Bader Farm has lost a terrible judgment against the leaching of the chemicals. So there's that. And then I think maybe the next thing would be to make sure that we can continue to cap a tax, and we will be able to always do the state in our best interest.
Mr. Laszacs, thank you, Ms. Hallmark. Mr. Laszacs.
So as a legislator, making bills is not your primary objective. The primary objective is to make sure that the bills that are already been passed are efficient. So we got to look at all those efficiencies. As a freshman, it is your job and your responsibility to get a second pair of eyes on all of those things. So you can call it Doge, Missouri if you like, but something of a similar thing, we can keep that rolling. With the focus on faith and family. Faith and family is the heartland lifestyle that we live right here in Missouri. So if you're not taking care of your family, you're not taking care of the people, you're not bringing down the cost of living so that people can have a projection 2-year, 5-year, 20-year down the road. How are you going to expect your grandchildren and great-grandchildren to make a living right here in central Missouri? That's my dream. I want to work on all the things that will inspire them. Well, we got to focus on our economy. We got to figure out, I don't want them charging you property tax. We should have went to that instead of Amendment 5 first. We should have figured all that. I want senior citizens paying for taxes after the age of 65. There's no call for that. But we have to do that right now because our counties would go broke.
Thank you very much.
I talk forever.
Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give them a big round of applause. Second 5-minute break, and then we're going to bring up the 121st legislative district candidates. 5-minute break, and then those candidates come on up for the 121st legislative district.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Doug Fowler here. I got it in silent mode. I can't hardly type here. David Lowe's getting ready to set up the show again, kick it off. Hope everybody's doing good. Make sure you share the link. Facebook jacked around with my link, so it made me look kind of, not a nice word, but made me look kind of foolish when my link was going out. So make sure you pass the word around. I've shared it as much as I can. I got connected to the Wi-Fi, and they just got some terrible sound system here in St. Robert. Matter of fact, we got an alderman here. I'm going to nag like crazy. I brought this up to the county or the city officials before. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll start back here shortly. And if you hear silence, that's just time to allow for your thinking consideration. If you have any questions, post them up here. I don't know if they'll take them. I think they've already taken their questions. And we'll go from there. Mr. Pritchard's up there, Miguel's up there. Oh, here we go. Peace out. Be back in a little bit. Aus Wiedersehen.
Hey, I have a challenge for these things. Ariana. Yeah. Well, yeah, it is. You know, whenever I hear the pause, you know, well, fair enough. Yeah, I got you. All right, man. Appreciate you. How you doing? All right. Perfect. Hey, so. Straight guy. And you can judge on how these people were holding that mic and whether you're here's what I'm thinking. Like this, you're a lot better. Yeah. I got told you last week. You want to stand in front? Absolutely fine. And then I'm going to leave you with that. All I'm trying to do is my best. Try to make sure he wouldn't go back to the everybody's always taking questions. So again, when we do the introductions, I'm going to just pass the mic down. And that way it's going to be I'm just going to let you go down the line. Right? Then the others, I'm trying to we'll get through it. So anyway, and I'm going to introduce you. And that way we get on. It should be live. All right, let's all gather in. We're going to begin the next segment. All right. Looks like the air conditioning's working. Everybody doing all right back there? Yeah. It's been warmer in here, I'm telling you. Okay, folks. It's now my privilege to introduce those who are running for the 121st Legislative District. We're honored to have these folks here this evening. I'm going to introduce them, and then, of course, they're going to get the opportunity to introduce themselves. On the Republican ticket, we have Mr. Keith Pritchard, Mr. Ben Rudy. On the Democratic ticket, we have Mr. Miguel Arellanes and Mr. Charles Lyman. All right, so again, the format is we're going to let them introduce themselves, and after we do that, we'll get into the question and answers. We'll begin with Mr. Pritchard.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keith Pritchard. My wife Barbara is here with me. My wife is 42 years. We have 3 grown daughters, 2 grandkids under 2. I'm a graduate of Waynesville High School, Northwest Missouri State University Ag Department, where I was on the livestock judging team and played basketball.
and Louisiana State University Graduate School of Mayhew. I have been preparing for this job for 4 decades. I've been in security bank in Pulaski County for 46 years, so 45, be 46 in October. And I have worked for the county, I work for our community. People that have been here have seen it, they know it. I've worked with local, state, congressional, and Senate and presidential. I served as a civilian aide to the Secretary of the Army for 11 years. I served in 3 presidential administrations, Obama, President Trump, and President Biden. I served for 7 Army secretaries, and I'm ready to serve for you. All right, thank you very much. Mr. Arellanes.
You got a shepherd too? All right, my name is Miguel Arellanes, and I'm an Army veteran. I am an increasingly active member of this community, but the real point that I chose to run for this office is because we need new young leaders involved in our process. If there's anything that I've learned from my grandma, it's that she said she was not always going to be around. And someday I'm going to have to take the torch. And the time is now for our generation to take the reins and push our communities forward together.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here. My name is Rudy. I'm running for state representative in District 121. I'm a regular guy. I did 24 years in the United States Army. I've been to Iraq, Afghanistan. I've seen the front lines. I've been all around the world. I've served various different jobs. And one thing that's always been consistent with me is that it's to take care of those around me and be a voice for those who can't be heard and to fight for their freedom as well, no matter what that is. So today I stand ready to help fight for Pulaski County, specifically 121. I'm here for you. I'm not part of any system committee club that's in for special interests. I'm here for you. All right. After I got out of the Army, I did a lot of volunteer work in the community, and I just saw a need for real people that aren't politicians to get involved in politics, because our political field is full of people that are in it for themselves. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not here to serve me, I'm here to serve you. Thank you for having me tonight.
Good afternoon. I'm proud to be here. My name is Charles Slider. I served in the Army for over 30 years. I served as the alderman for St. Robert, Missouri for over 10 years. The Neon Park over there, I'm responsible for getting it here. The U.S. Chimney over here, I'm responsible for that. Several other areas in Raleigh, you'll find plaques, and I'm responsible for that. I'm an active volunteer within the community. I've been married for over 52 years to one woman, and she is gorgeous. She's wonderful. She's like gold. My son is serving in the Army. He's a full bird colonel. He has a Purple Heart. My great-grandfather served in the Civil War. He has a Purple Heart. We have over 260 years of military service in my family. The reason that I'm here is because I have a servant heart, and it's displayed by the community. I appreciate your support.
All right, we'll get to the question and answer portion of this. We'll start with Mr. Slider. Couple of facts, and then we'll get to the question. The facts are: the Missouri budget has grown from approximately $16 billion in the year 2000 to more than $50 billion in 2026. Likewise, the revised Missouri statutes have grown from approximately 16 volumes in 2000 to about 36 volumes in 2026. The question is, when do we have enough laws which restrict the liberties of the citizens, and do you have a plan to review laws and file proposed legislation to eliminate laws that are no longer necessary?
I do. First of all, the Amendment 5. If you check Missouri law, you'll find the Hancock Act. The Hancock Act has been situated for over 40 years. That Hancock Act allows the citizens to control the taxes that are placed on them. Okay, with that in place, why are we placing Amendment 5 on the charts? Because it's not approved by the citizens. And furthermore, the Amendment 5 will take away your right to control the taxes. Hancock Act is in place to keep that, to prevent that from happening. Anything that occurs as far as taxes are concerned should be controlled by the citizens. In order to maintain control of the taxes, we cannot allow the law to prevent the citizens from doing that. By voting against Amendment 4 and Amendment 5, that's possible.
Mr. Rudy.
Okay, absolutely. We need to get rid of laws that are no longer required. That is a priority of mine. I think that we have way too many laws that don't need to exist. Listen, laws are established to help protect the rights that you are already given by God. All right? You have the Constitution, which is the why, and the how is the Bill of Rights. Right? Or the Declaration of Independence is the why, and the how we're going to do is the Constitution. And what protects that is your Bill of Rights. And those Bill of Rights did not come from the government, they came from God. And that's why the letters of ratification weren't enough. We had to have the Bill of Rights. And so you are the boss, you run the government does not run you. And I think that when it comes to taxes, we have way too many taxes. Yes, it takes taxes to do things, but we need to get back to less government overreach, and start taking care of each other. There's a good sign out that says, love your neighbor, sign a good mind to sign. But it's true. We need to start loving each other more and be less dependent on government.
Thank you. Mr. Ariano.
Could you repeat the question for me?
So there were some statistics given that basically has shown that our budget has grown from approximately 16 billion in 2000 to 50 billion today in 2026. Likewise, with revised Missouri statutes have grown from 16 volumes in 2000 to 36 volumes today. And that's the laws of the land of Missouri. The question was, when do we have enough laws which can restrict the liberties of citizens? And do you have a plan to review laws and file proposed legislation to eliminate laws that are no longer necessary?
Well, I absolutely am for eliminating laws that are no longer relevant, no longer useful, because they're just taking up space. Now, I think there's reasonability in the way that our budget has gone up. It's gone up because things are more expensive. Everybody in this room understands that prices have gone up. We can't ignore it. We can't sweep the feet out from underneath programs. We need to make sure that we're taking care of people and we're doing the appropriate things to keep functioning. But there's always room to reduce spending in a reasonable manner and just shrink the overall size of government. Nobody likes big government, but government can be small and efficient, and it can do what it needs to do to make sure that everybody is able to have a better tomorrow.
Thank you. Please repeat the question. Yes, the question was, when do we have enough laws that restrict the liberties of citizens? And do you have a plan to review laws and file proposed legislation to eliminate laws that are no longer necessary?
First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring some hillbilly logic. You know, we need to pay attention to what's going on up there, and Pulaski County being the 5th largest economic center in the state of Missouri, behind St. Louis, Kansas City, Springfield, Columbia, then it's Fort Leonard Wood area. This is our area that we control and contribute a lot to the state, and the state needs to pay attention to what our needs are down here. 163 state reps up there. One person's not going to go up there as a freshman and start census. People, organize yourself. You have to be knowledgeable, and I'm prepared to do that. You know, there is a lot of good things we can do, and some of the best things we might do is pass fewer laws instead of get on board and pass more laws. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pritchard, next question will go to you. It's brought up by Mr. Schreiner about Amendment 5. Use that as an example in his previous answer. And as most everyone here knows, Amendment 5 is on the ballot. Just 3 weeks from now, we'll be voting on it. It will phase out the state income tax over time as state revenue grows. What is your position on the proposed Amendment 5, and why or why not do you believe this will benefit the citizens of Missouri?
Thank you, David. It's a great opportunity to answer this question. It just does not make sense. It does not make sense. We cannot just eliminate income tax and say, if it's short, we're going to let the legislature raise sales tax where they deem appropriate. That's not how it's done in America. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to support it. I don't believe it's going to pass this August because the idea may have some merit, but the law as it's written will not pass. Missourians are smarter than that. It's a good theory, and it may come back into future years with different plans, but right now, that bill is a no-go. It will not pass, and I will not support it.
Mr. Arians.
Could you repeat the question?
Amendment 5 is on the August ballot, and it will phase out the state income tax over time as state revenue grows. What is your position on the proposed Amendment 5, and why or why not do you believe this will benefit the citizens of Missouri?
I don't think this amendment will benefit a single person. Reasonably so. This amendment, as it's worded, gives the state legislature the power to increase sales tax on any good or service. Regardless, if we want it or not, that's the reason we have the Hancock Amendment. We did not want runaway sales tax. We didn't want any runaway tax. And Amendment 5 gives the state exactly that. It gives them the ability to implement runaway taxes. It's a bad bill. If it was a meaningful bill, why did we eliminate tax on Social Security in 2024 if in 2026 we were just going to push another tax on them? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't pass a single test of reasonability.
This is a very interesting question. My very first book I ever read in my life was the Fair Tax Act of 2005. I read it as a soldier in Iraq for Master Sergeant Brown. If you're still alive out there, thank you for that. Hey, so this is a real question that affects your paycheck. Do I support Amendment 5? The short answer, as it stands right now, is no. It doesn't make sense. I agree with everyone on the stage. However, if it worked the way they say it's going to work, I can see it being very, very useful in the future. The problem that it has some flaws. Same thing with the Fair Tax Act of 2005. The flaws that I see are there's no cap for the percentage increase that I see. All right, right now they're talking about less than a 1% increase on sales tax, which is great, but there's no guarantee. So we got to have some guarantees with this, almost like Bill of Rights for the Constitution. You bring those Bill of Rights in for Amendment 5, and we can talk on the table.
Like I said earlier, the Hancock Act was in place 40 years ago. Back to square one. It gives the citizens the power to control the taxes. So let's do the KISS method. Absolutely no. I will not support Amendment 5 in any form whatsoever because I'm stuck on the Hancock Act. If you don't believe me, check it out. Go up on the Google and bring it up. Amendment 5 is no good. It's too many loopholes. First of all, your Social Security. You go to the barber shop, you go to the beauty shop, more taxes. You go to the laundromat, more taxes. You go to the car wash, more taxes. These citizens do not need their rights taken. And that's what would happen if you vote yes on Amendment 5. Thank you.
All right, next question. Mr. Rudy. What kind of relationship should the state of Missouri have with the federal government, and how will that affect your agenda if elected?
I think it's very important. I think our Constitution, and specifically in the Bill of Rights Amendment 10, all right, gives the states the power over the country on certain things. And I think that we need to get more power back to the states and less power back to the federal government. That's the way our country's going. You know, not too long ago, Abraham Lincoln had people knock on the White House door to ask him a question. That's how really irrelevant the president of the United States was at the time, because the power belonged to the state. And I think that the state of Missouri, the showing state, we need to get that power back and be able to make decisions best for its citizens, you guys in the room, because you are the people. The government, again, works for you. We don't tell you what to do. You're the boss. And so I want to keep it that way. I want to bring the power back to the people. That starts with communication. That starts with allowing it to happen and having representatives go there and represent you and fight for you.
Oh, sorry, I was going to Mr. Pritchard next.
Would you repeat that, please?
Yes, sir. What kind of relationship should the state of Missouri have with the federal government, and how will that affect your agenda if elected?
Very simply, Fort Leonard Wood, Pulaski County is a different animal of most states in Pulaski, in the entire state. We have a huge government influence. It's here, it's not going away. We don't want it to go away. We have agriculture, we have lots of small business, we have lots of other things here too. But the big monster in the room is the United States government. We need to work with them closely, as we have. We need to provide opportunities for our military soldiers, sailor, airmen, and Marines who come through Fort Leonard Wood, and additional growth opportunities for Homeland Security and other bases, other operations that may come here, and make this a place to live, work, and play for the military families, and so that they can come here, they can get their training, and then they can go out and do the nation's business. It's a major piece of our District 121, and we have to foster it. I know how to do it.
Could you repeat the question for me? Yes, the question is, what kind of relationship should the state of Missouri have with the federal government, and how will that affect your agenda if elected?
I think the federal government should have minimal control over our state. But in reasonability, we have to be able to work together. It's part of everything that we do in this country, working together. But like Ben said, there's something that's described as the wall of federalism. And it prevents the federal government from reaching too far into the state's business. Now, I think right now the federal government has a little bit of an issue reaching into our business. I'm not saying that we should push them completely away, but we have to have reasonability in the way that we let people from outside of our state interact and influence us.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll leave it to you. You can take the next question. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Mr. Slider. I do not want to slight you. So let's give that mic to Mr. Slider. Thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate your help with that. Mr. Slider, you have that question, or do you need to repeat it?
No, you don't need to repeat it.
Okay.
The federal and state issue is a delicate situation because the state has to make laws that are meeting the federal requirement. Now, as we look at from state level, working down to our local level, we have to be delicate with our citizens on our decisions and how we correlate our decisions to match what the federal government says the law is. Therefore, as a House of Representative person representing my citizens, I'm going to make sure that I am making the correct decisions that won't impact you in a negative way. At the same time, keeping an appropriate balance with the laws according to federal requirements. So it's a two frame situation. But my citizens will always be my main objective. Thank you.
Thank you. Give that to Mr. Arias. Next question first, Mr. Arias. Since marijuana was legalized in the state of Missouri, marijuana dispensaries are becoming more prevalent around the state to include Pulaski County. Are you aware of these dispensaries that pay their mandated taxes to the counties? And if elected, what would you do to ensure that they're doing so?
I have not looked specifically to see if the dispensaries are paying their share back into our community that we give them access to. But, I mean, if elected, there's a reason that we should look into it. Anybody that is here and using our infrastructure, our roads, our sidewalks, our electricity, our water, our people, needs to pay into the system. It's how we continue to move things forward. It's how we fund so many things across our state and our community.
Next one will be Mr. Pritchard to answer that question.
Repeat the question, please.
The question was, first of all, was prefacing that. The preface is that since marijuana was legalized in the state of Missouri, marijuana dispensaries have become more prevalent around the state to include Pulaski County. Are you aware of these dispensaries that pay their mandated taxes to the counties, and if elected, what would you do to ensure that they do so?
It's just overlooking the Department of Revenue to do their job. The citizens of Pulaski, or citizens of Missouri, voted that in through an initiative amendment to approve the operations of those operations with marijuana. And the taxes are in place. They need to be collected as any tax should be. So that's just proper management of the Department of Revenue. It's everyone's personal choice whether they do or do not use it. Doesn't matter if you do. We all have an individual choice how we live our life. And it is legal in our state. So therefore, let's mandate it so that it operates properly within the laws as they were promoted and as it was approved by the state, and ensure that that's done. If it's not done, you call them in on the Department of Revenue and say, why aren't we collecting it? And make corrections where necessary. Thank you.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, so the question is, well, the statement first was that since marijuana was legalized in Missouri, marijuana dispensaries are becoming more prevalent in and around the state to include Pulaski County. Are you aware if these dispensaries have paid their mandated taxes to the counties, and if so, or if elected, what would you do to ensure that they do so?
First of all, it's not my job to make sure that they are paying their taxes. It's the revenue department that does that. Officials are not investigators. Now, we will make laws to prevent that from happening, but it's not our job to enforce tax payments or anything else. Our job is to make sure that our areas are safe, our citizens are taken care of. But now, if the citizens want us to make laws to take care of taxes, then we can bring that to our council and decide what we can do to prevent that from occurring. Thank you.
Mr. Rudy.
Okay, so I agree with Keith, all right, that it's not the legislator's job to enforce people paying their taxes, right? And my big question would be is why do we have a special tax for a special freedom that we have? That's my big deal in the room is, you know, the Constitution talks about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we say, okay, we're going to pass the law and say we can do these things. But why do we only do that if we can tax higher on a special tax to allow you to do them? We just need to have a fair tax for everything that's sold. And it doesn't matter what's sold, if it's alcohol, marijuana, clothes, shoes, just put a flat tax on that bad boy and let's all pay our dues. We overcomplicate the process, and that's why we have too much government.
Great, thank you very much. Back to you, Mr. Schleider. Or, yeah, Mr. Schleider, you know. All right, so Mr. Schleider. Wait, I didn't forget Mr. Ion, I said, I apologize. Yeah, you're the last one on this question. Yeah, Mr. Ion.
Could you repeat the question for me?
Yeah, so the question was about the marijuana dispensaries, which is becoming more prevalent around the state.
I already answered that. That was the first one.
Okay, so I'm going to Mr. Slider to answer that. Yeah,
We all.
So Mr. Slider, that's what I was thinking. I apologize for that. Mr. Slider, I've got the next question for you. You guys keep it straight here, will you please? All right, next question is. So, Mr. Slider, what do you believe are some, either one or more of the current state government programs that are inefficient or wasteful? And if elected, how do you believe those programs should be reformed?
First of all, I would say education. I say education because the budget is turned over to charter schools and religious institutions, and it infringes upon the public education of our young adults and our children. The reason I say that, if you look at the statistics, it's more money spent in Missouri on charter and religious schools than goes into public schools. In order to defeat that process, I would take money from the border schools, charter schools, and the religious schools and turn it back into the public schools. Also, I would raise teacher pay because our teachers don't get paid enough. Our teachers get paid maybe $40,000, $30,000 to begin. In Japan, which is the #1 educational nation, they're treated like doctors. They're treated exponentially.
Mr. Rudy.
Mine's gonna be, Missouri Health Net, it's gonna be Medicaid. We have a big problem in Missouri with delayed applications. Listen, this affects real people, real lives, real healthcare. And we gotta hold these agencies accountable. That's the first thing, holding them accountable, right? The second thing is stop overlapping services. One of the problems that we have is we have so many different organizations doing very similar things. So what can we specifically do to assign specific roles for organizations so that we're not, one, it's gonna be cheaper to run that organization, so we're not paying people the same thing to do the same thing over and over and over. But two, it's gonna provide a efficient, more effective way to receive healthcare. We all know our healthcare system's broken. We wanna fix it. Well, this is how you fix it. That's all I got.
All right, Mr. Ariano.
Could you repeat the question for me?
Yes, the question is, what current state government programs or program do you believe is inefficient or inefficient and wasteful? And how do you believe they should be reformed?
The first program that I believe is wasteful and inefficient is the Most Scholars program. Right now, it spends $60 million as of this year on private education for children that are largely already going to private schools. If we want to shrink the budget, we need to start and focus on our public education. But another topic area is non-governmental organizations. The state will throw money at whatever nonprofit, at anything in the state, if they feel necessary. Many people have pet projects once they get into the legislature, and money comes with those pet projects. And we need to rein them in to shrink our budget.
Thank you, Mr. Pritchard.
Please repeat the question.
Question is, what current state government program or programs do you believe are inefficient or wasteful, and how do you believe they should be reformed?
Well, at a $51.7 billion budget, there's a lot of things in there we can work on. And I think some good logic of how to address the amount of goods and services the government should be providing compared to what the government is providing certainly is worth looking at. I believe the Department of Transportation, where the state of Missouri has the fifth largest amount of mileage that we take care of, and we fund it with about the 35th amount of dollars.
And we have to be careful that those dollars aren't all spent in the metro area. I believe that we rural communities deserve quality roads and expansion and wider interstates and all those things that they're getting in other parts of the country. We deserve it here. Education's another one. We need to balance education, use common sense, properly fund the school funding, providing an opportunity for public, private, religious schools as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the picture. Let's give them all a big round of applause. John?
Good job. All right, let's take a 3-minute break, and then we're going to bring up our state senate candidates. 3-minute break, and then state senate candidates make their way to the lot.
Dominate.
I always see you online. I always see you online. Hi, Bill. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? How's it going? Are you the one that has the whole? Good for you. Yeah, and I sent you this about the. Okay. I got a big question.
No. I mean,
Perfect. Sounds good. Sounds good. I like being in. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna give you the same. I'm gonna give you the same. I'll give the other one. You can hear me. You got 60 seconds. Bottom line is, started, it's counting, we're doing your shit. This way, you got your comments and passions. They all sit there, you know, I'm trying to make sure that everybody is safe. That's the way I'm trying to figure out where we're at. I looked up here and see what that. I mean, for you, it's your attention. That's what I'm saying. You never know. Yeah. It's the bewitching hour. Again, put them in here, put the stuff, you start to sally, go downtown, and then figure out. Okay. Thank you. All three, you're bug. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, sir, gentlemen. Please let you touch it. All right, folks, if you're going to have a seat, we're going to begin. Well, I mean, there's no way you can. Yeah, Daryl's going to get the other end. Make sure you leave it.
You're using the lens that makes me 10 pounds lighter, right there.
Tried to get him to hug, but they wouldn't do it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'll introduce the candidates for the 16th senatorial district, the Senate race here in our area, 6 counties, and then we'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves to you. This is alphabetical, so we've got current legislative district, 121st, state representative Bill Hardwick. We've got serving as the state representative for the 124th legislative district, Don Mayhew. We've got former representative Hannah Kelly. We also have on the Republican ticket Philip Lohmann. And we have on the Democratic ticket Virginia Staabs. Scott. All right. Now they're going to introduce themselves to you, and I'll turn it over to Hannah Kelly.
Thank you, sir. All right, they gave us, can you hear me okay? All right. My name is Hannah Kelly. Can you hear me? All right. I am a mom, I'm a business owner, and I am a farm girl from Wright County. I believe in making sure the government is accountable to the people. And I have served in the state legislature for 8 years on behalf of the Cleve, Wright, and Douglas counties, as well as Webster counties. It's an honor to be here tonight. My most favorite opportunity in life is to be a mother. And I adopted my daughter when she was 17. She's getting married tomorrow. But she is a huge part of why I'm here tonight, why I'm asking to go to work for you. Our children are our future, and I look forward to getting you all to visit with you all more and answering any questions.
I'm Don Mayhew, born and raised in Crocker, Missouri, which is right up the road. And I'm one of 10 kids, which means I was born rich. I have 4 kids of my own and 11 grandkids, and served as your county surveyor for 10 years. school board for 6 years up in Crocker, and now in the House of Representatives for the last 8 years, where I've served on Budget Committee for the last 8 years. This year, I am serving on 11 different committees, which means that the Speaker of the House didn't know what to do with me, so he just put me on everything just in case. So I'm a conservative, of course, Christian, believe in our Second Amendment rights, and very pro-life.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lohmann. Can you hear me? All right. All right. I am running for state senate, District 16. I'm a visionary. We need to focus on the future of this state. Looking to the past is great. My ancestors were one of the founding families of Missouri. Our history must be honored, but we cannot let shroud us or hold us back from focusing on the future of our kids. We need new investment, and we need new leadership. It's time to level up shit. Represent.
Hello, can y'all hear me? Yes. Good, doing better than Saturday. My name is Virginia Staabs. I am living in Richland right now. I have been working in the city and the county and all over the state, talking to people for the last 4 years. With many things. I have a small business that when I moved here, I was planning to retire and close. But word of mouth, it has more than tripled. So, and I'm trying to figure out how to retire. This doesn't seem like this is the way, but in talking to people, they want change. And one of the big changes they want is for their voices to be heard and used in Jefferson City.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Hardwick. I've been your state representative for the last 6 years, and I love our community, and I do believe in protecting our freedom. And I've worked hard for Fort Leonard Wood and for our area. And I look around the room and I see a lot of folks who I help with a constituent issue, or who I worked on a law for, or who just asked me to advocate on an issue. And I'm trying to do a good job to do well representing you and represent your values and represent our community. And I'm asking for the chance to let me keep doing that and serving you on a greater level. And thank you all for being here tonight. God bless you.
All right, so we're going to begin our question and answer session. I'll begin with you, Ms. Kelly. First question would be, what is your position on the proposed Amendment 4? Do you believe it should be easier for the legislature than the citizens of Missouri to get an initiative petition on the ballot?
I will be voting in support of Amendment 4. And the reason for that is during my service and years in the House, went to the Supreme Court steps working to stop the first Amendment 3, because I am pro-life. And I know so many of you are here in this room tonight. Our Constitution has grown out of proportion. We the people always have a voice because of the liberties that were enshrined through our state and federal constitutions, of course. I believe that one should have to work really, really hard to change what is the most sacred of documents. And that's the long and short of it. If you believe, if I'm going to go work to ask you to be your senator, I've got to earn the trust. I've got to earn the vote. And if you want to put something on the ballot, I believe that you should have to work hard here in Pulaski County as you do in St. Louis, Kansas City, and back home in Bryan County. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Representative Mayhew.
Okay, so that's really two questions. First one is, do we need to have it where it's more difficult to change the Constitution? Absolutely. How many people out here read all 43 pages of the lawyer gobbledygook that was associated with the marijuana amendment? Probably. Oh, all right. Hey, we got two people. Okay, so the second part of that question is, do we, the legislature, have an advantage over the citizens? Well, okay. So as an HER moves its way, it goes to amend it. How many times do you get to amend it when it shows up on the ballot? Zero.
All right, thank you, Representative. Mr. Lohmann.
I'll be voting against Amendment 4. We shouldn't overrule the will of the people. If you don't like what's being proposed, make a better argument. Don't take away from the rights of the people and give it to a bunch of bureaucrats. As we need to respect everyone in the state, how they vote. Whether you agree with it or not, the will of the people must be done and enforced. All right, so that is my stance on it. Thank you.
This is a hard no. And it's a hard no because the legislature tells you all the steps they go through. How many of you know what it takes to get an initiative on the ballot? I got 2. I happen to have been privileged to be a part of one of those initiatives that we're hoping will be on the ballot in November from the beginning. It is not a simple process. It requires many lawyers. It requires constitutional lawyers. It requires multiple times talking to the Secretary of State. It requires a consensus of citizens who don't even know that there's an election or what the process is to get it on the ballot. We have to talk to more than 4 times the number of signatures that we need in hopes of getting enough ballot signatures. And a signature to put it on the ballot only gets it on the ballot. I've collected signatures of people who said, I expect your right to vote on it, but I'm voting yes. I will vote yes.
Mr. Hardwick.
I do think that we should reform the initiative petition process, but I did not vote for this vote in my view reform for the recent state because the initiative petition process is 51%, but the legislature then all 8 congressional districts. And the legislative process was simple majority. So I felt like there was a double standard that was created. And I felt like that if you required all 8 congressional districts, you would functionally eliminate the initiative petition process, which if the Democrats take over the legislature, we would need that to hold them accountable. And it would risk me having abortion stuck in the Missouri Constitution. So I didn't think that it was a version that was powerful because I think that we have to hold the government accountable and even hold the legislature accountable. So I do think that we should make it harder to amend the Missouri Constitution. There's a lot of bad stuff that shouldn't go into the Constitution. I don't think we should get rid of the initiative petition process. I think you should have a way to kind of rise up and say the government's not working with you. That's my opinion.
Representative Hardwick, next question will be you first, and then we'll just come back down the line. Representative Hardwick, are you in favor of single subject bills? And the second part of the question is, if so, how would you implement single subject bills?
So the Constitution requires that bills conform to their original purpose and have a single subject. And the legislature's gone way away from that because we'll change the title from irons to public safety and fit 1 billion amendments on there. And then there's stuff that people like on there and there's stuff that's bad that takes your liberty away. And in the House, I can't do much about that besides vote no or make my protest. But in the Senate, I can hold the floor as long as I possibly can and filibuster and say, hey, these gigantic 300-page bills that have a bunch of spending in them and a bunch of pet projects and a bunch of things that you don't even know that takes your liberty away, I can stop those things in the Senate. And just demand that we have single subject bills that are confined to the original purpose and that everybody knows what they're voting on. And there's not 100 pages stuck in the bill of night. So I can't effectuate that in the Senate. And you can count, that's something I would stand my ground on.
I agree with Bill. Single subject is single subject. If you're going to add things on it, that's going to change the way we vote. That means the things that the citizens want and have asked for may get voted down when they shouldn't be. We need single subject only so that we don't have to, every one of us, explain how come somebody else messed up the process.
Thank you, Mr. Lohmann.
Yes, basically we can vote yes or no in the Senate and hold it for as long as possible. We must keep single subject on a single subject. If you want to Scooby-Doo sandwich this, we're going to need to talk about it more. All right. I'm going to push to make sure the senators and House members actually show up and do a job. We can't just do these backroom deals with regulators. We're getting too far away from the legislative process, and we need to restore it back to the American people and have clear messaging. And as Bill Bill Igo once said, if we're not given a chance to read it, we need a 3D period to read it, and if we don't know what's in it, you automatically vote no, because it's better that bad legislation die than good legislation pass. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible to get rid of either way. Thank you.
All right, so single subject bills. Right now, we are doing single subject bills. The first 4 years in the House of Representatives, we changed title on the floor, something totally different, and then they add a whole bunch of stuff in there. Well, fortunately, one of the few times I've agreed with our Missouri Supreme Court, they said, yeah, you can't do that. So the reality is, in the last 4 years, fairly well to the single subject rule. Where we're running into a problem now, which is where we really need to make a difference, and mostly on the Senate side, is the conference committee process. During the conference committee process, you can pretty much add whatever you want to into a bill and then send it to be truly agreed to and finally passed. If we need to make a change at all in our legislature, that's where it needs to be made.
Thank you. Ms. Gallo?
Thank you, sir. The first thing I will do if elected to serve you in the state Senate is sit down with those who are looking to be in Senate leadership and have this very discussion with them. I've said it often over the last 8 years in the House that you gave me, my people, and the 141st District gave me the chance to serve. We aren't concession at Christmas time. And the big bills are often referred to as Christmas tree bills. And I believe it is imperative to start that conversation on day one and make sure that the leadership understands that we, the people, want to see no Christmas tree bills during session.
All right.
Sorry, I keep turning my back to you.
All right, thank you very much. The next question, we'll start with you, Mr. Mayhew.
There you go.
Next question is, Article 3, Sections 21 and 23 of the Missouri Constitution relates to the limits on legislative powers and describes how bills must be structured. Please describe how you will be committed to upholding these sections.
So, they told me there wouldn't be any math. Yes, but, so the Constitution gives us a clear formula for how we build our bills and what committees that they end up going to. We have strayed away from that during the process of making bills, but with probably good intent in that there's 3,300 bills basically that got filed last year. Several of them have gone to committees that probably wouldn't be allowed constitutionally under a strict reading of the Constitution. As far as putting them together, the reality is that most of that work is done in committee in the first place. So that's where a lot of these amendments are added. That is also the place where a lot of the bad stuff happens, Bill. Yes, we need to pay closer attention to that.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayhew. Next would be Ms. Kelly.
Absolutely, we need to pay closer attention to that. And not to be repetitive, but I would continually stand guard on these issues with the Senate leadership team if elected to serve you. Communication is everything. We know that whether it's at our kitchen table, at our place of business, at our local government, state or federal. You have to communicate. If I see something going off the rails, I'm going to have the relationships built where they will sit down and listen to what you, the people who sent me there, are saying, as well as my own concerns when I see it going away from the constitutional guidance that we are sworn to uphold. Thank you, sir.
Article 3 of the Missouri Constitution requires that we have a original purpose and a single subject. And the Missouri Supreme Court says the draft of the bill makes a strategic decision about how wide of a title they have. But it's required that they have a clear title. That Article 3 about the legislature also requires that we not have bills that are special laws that benefit one area, benefit another area. That we have bills that benefit a special corporation. That's our favorite, right? And that there's a process when the bill can be filed and when the bill has to move through the process. Eventually before the deadline and the referral bills with the speaker's office. So I think if you're drafting it, you have to realize that it has to be something that's in the general benefit of your constituents and conforms to those requirements in Article 3 of the 3 Constitution. What we've done is we've let other groups kind of take over the process. And as we got further from the Constitution, we had more and more special interests driving the process. And I think that'd be returned back to the Constitution, to the people.
Thank you.
We have guidelines and rules in the legislature and the Constitution, the statutes, for a reason. It's so that these things don't go off the rail. If we let them go off the rails, that means people weren't paying attention. It means our elected officials weren't paying attention. It means we weren't given the ability to hold them accountable. It needs to be held accountable. It needs to be followed. There's a reason we have those rules. They need to be followed.
Back to the same issue. We've been giving too much power to regulators and not enough power to the legislative branch. We got to pass legislation where we take back our authority so we can properly read through everything and so we can make an informed decision. Otherwise, the regulators will just overrule the legislator because we keep giving away our constitutional rights to unelected bureaucrats. Yes, if we take back our power as the legislative branch, we can more effectively pass bills and legislation that benefits you, the people. It's time we listen to the people and take back the power so that we can properly focus on the future of this country and properly serve every individual in this state. Thank you.
Ms. Kelly, we'll start with you. There's been previous discussion on this question tonight. Well, what is your position on the proposed Amendment 5 and why or why not do you believe this will benefit the citizens of Missouri?
I've always loved tax reform when it makes sense. I am not voting for Amendment 5 because the structure needs to be worked on. Period. When you and I sit at our kitchen tables and we work on our budget, we have to set priorities. And I don't see the clear guardrails in this ballot measure for the priorities. And so therefore I'm a no.
Thank you very much. Hardwick.
I recognize I have kind of an unpopular opinion about it, but I voted for getting rid of the income tax because I think if our state doesn't start growing, our state's going to start dying. And economic growth is a way to get through our problems. We have to have more people doing businesses here, more people creating business here, more people having jobs here. So I am in favor of getting rid of the income tax. I don't think we have to raise prices telling people to do it though. I think we could cut spending. I think we could work on the cost of living, which is what I hear everywhere I go. I think we could deal with making sure prices go down. But I think in the long run, if our state's going to be competitive, we have to do a big change to our tax system. And that means more businesses growing here. And I think the best way to do that is to have no income tax. I know that's unpopular, but that's kind of what I think.
Ms. Staabs.
Another one, hard no. Here's the thing. They didn't have to come to us for a vote to get rid of income tax. They could do that with a simple vote in the House and the Senate. They could wipe it out. If they wanted to wipe it out without having to worry about getting an increase for us in taxes, which it will be for most seniors, a lot of government retired people on government pensions. There's a lot of people, some of you in this room, who don't pay income tax right now. If they wanted to do that, they needed to start with a plan on how to build back the revenue that they would be losing from income tax. We need an economic development plan in this state, and we don't have one. That's where we need to start. People aren't moving here because of education, not income tax.
I will be voting in favor of Amendment 5. As my grandfather says, when it comes to taxes on the ballot, it's a pick your poison. So the options are a higher sales tax or getting rid of income tax. With income tax, you don't get the choice what comes out of your wallet. With sales tax, you can choose whether or not to buy something. That's the difference. Now, that doesn't mean that the state's automatically going to raise it. It's only if the budget falls short. All right, so given the choice, I would rather get rid of the income tax and choose what I want to buy versus having something unwillingly taken out of my check every single week. That's my stance on it. Whether you're for or against it, the will of the people must be enforced. Thank you.
All right, so I'm a big fan of fair tax. And when you talk to most people about, you're giving me some extra time there. Thank you, Daniel, by the way. When you talk to people about how the fair tax works and they understand it, well, then they're okay with it. Where I've got a problem is exactly the same place most people end up with, is that this isn't the fair tax. This allows for the legislature to do something similar to the fair tax. And therein lies the problem. It's pig and poke, plain and simple. We don't know who's going to end up with the exception. So my business, I'm an engineer and a surveyor. I would be one of them who would end up being taxed under this scheme. The problem is that engineers and surveyors can't afford high-priced lobbyists. But there are segments of our economy that can. And so I don't want to be the last guy holding the bag. If it truly is a fair tax, it applies to everyone, no exceptions. And that's where I have a problem with it right now.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving on. Let's go down here. Ms. Staabs, I'll ask you this question and let you take that one first.
Okay.
And the question is, what do you see as the most important issue facing the state of Missouri at this present time, and what specific legislation would you support to address it?
I kind of touched on this a minute ago. People are not moving to this state, not because we have an income tax, but because our education system is bad. You only have to go look and see where we sit in the country to know that we are not at a level that we should be to get people to come here. The best thing we can do is fully fund public education. That is the most even way to make sure that every child has the same opportunity to make more than minimum wage. And when every child has that opportunity, they will convince their employers they're worth it. Where's it go next?
Goes to Mr. Lohmann.
All right. My answer is World War III with China. That's our biggest threat right now. Donald Trump is talking about this right now on the East Coast. China is interfering in our state's elections right now. They're pushing an anti-data center campaign of $295 billion to try and shut down American data centers so they can build theirs in China. They are responsible for partnering with the cartels in fentanyl and human trafficking. For all the ranks now, third in human trafficking, I get constant calls from parents saying, "Where's my kid?" every day. I'm going to revive the state guard. We're going to take back our farmlands, and we're going to be kicking China out. We will fight the crime in our streets. We will make our neighborhoods safe again, and we will win World War III in 2036. We have until then and to prepare. I will be reviving our defense industry, bringing tens of thousands of jobs to our neighborhoods, and we will have a future for our children. Thank you.
Representative Mayhew. Yes. So the question was, what do you believe or what do you see as the most important issue currently facing the state of Missouri, and what specific legislation would you support to address it?
All right, so the biggest problem facing the state of Missouri right now is the budget. So specific legislation are budget bills. The reality is that $24.5 billion, which is half of our entire state budget, is related to healthcare in some form or fashion. 40% of that is Medicaid alone. We have about a $500 million hole in our budget as a result of Medicaid expansion. Medicaid expansion, if you're not familiar, is for able-bodied people alone. Which means that, and it was passed and put into our Constitution by the voters, quote unquote, and the only way that we can change anything related to it here in Missouri is if we change the Constitution. Another $10 billion is education. So about 70% of our entire budget is either healthcare or education. We got to slow this down, folks.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly.
Thank you, sir.
One of the number one things I will be addressing in person to be your state senator is the reality of what our state tax commission is right now. If you don't know, our state tax commission really, in summary, because of the clock, holds their counties over a barrel in regards to the assessment process in the state. And when I sit down with local business leaders across this district, and especially with bankers across this district, one of the number one things that I'm hearing is that some of the top reasons for foreclosure is the cost of insurance and the cost of property taxes. We have to address this. We have to hold the tax commission accountable. We have to make sure that we get this done. And how I will do this is campaigning once, if trusted to serve, to get on the budget committee and get to work and hold the reality of the current structure accountable so that the people can have a voice in the process.
All right, thank you.
I think our biggest problem is that the people don't really have a voice in Jefferson City. That the lobbyists control everything, they control the process. So every issue we bring up here about our schools, we go up there and they take it over. And that's not so much a bill as it will change the way we do business. And I might be a little rough around the edges, but I'm brave and I'm tough. And if you send me to the Senate, things would be different in our state. And you'd feel for the first time bigger than ever that your voice is being heard and that people are being represented well. So send people to the Senate with backbone. We're going to change things and actually be a champion. Thank you guys very much.
All right, let's give them all a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. Yeah, and then we'll wrap it up at time. Okay, a couple of final announcements here, and again, give everybody a big round of applause. Couple of final announcements here, and appreciate you all coming. Really do. This is about democracy, and this is where it starts at the groundwork level. Thank everyone for making again, Jack, thank her, and want to make sure everybody knows August 3rd is the primary election. November 3rd is the general election. Save the date, make plans to attend the Republican Hall dinner, which is at the Dixon Senior Center on October 15th at 5:30 p.m. Thank you again for attending this evening. Have a good evening.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. Doug Fowler here signing off from the St. Robert, Missouri Community Center, talking with all these candidates. Please share the link, spread the news. It's the kind of thing we do. Sorry about the mess up with the Facebook link. That's usually we do better than that, but didn't happen this time. So thought we had a great turnout, a lot of good answers, a lot of good questions. And until the next time, we'll see you. On behalf of Jack and Dewey, we'll be seeing you